Welcome back to topic number 2, and this is telecommunication legs placement. So we are going to place the telecommunication, the legs of our tower, or in this case, it's just the columns, but they're not really the columns because they are not perpendicular, they're not straight, they're more of inclined. So it's probably it's we define it as a leg. Now let me just show you how we can create that leg here. So since we had transferred these points upward. So let's just first of all get rid of them because they make no sense here in this location. So let me just delete them. Now, to create the legs, I'll begin with the first leg. Then I'll come to steel here. I'll come to steel. Then I'll pick on the beam there. Then I'm going to stretch all the way from the top here, and I'll pick just to one corner leg here, and I'm going to stretch all the way to the bottom end. And I began that at 66 meters, and I'm going to place it right there. So in here you can see a default profile is a beam, and the beam is a very strange member to use as the leg of our telecommunication tower. So we have to modify this to take an L profile. So I'm going to double click on this member by left clicking. So this will bring in an editor dialog box of a beam profile like you see here. So we have under general here, we have where you can now define or just to key in here the legs, or just key in leg, or just leave it as it is, or you can just key in whichever the name of your preference. So in here I'll come to the profile, and I'll come to the profile right there. I'm trying to move fast, so let me just go straight and give some time to load all the information that we need in picking the profile of our preference from the profile catalog here. So you can see select profile dialog box. So what we are waiting is just to allow it to load everything for us to be able to pick whichever profile of our choice. Now I'm going to minimize this so that I have a clear view of catalogs sealed profiles available. But in our case, we want to work with L profile. So under L profile, I'm going to click on that plus sign by left clicking on it, and I'm going to use a 150 size of L profile. So I'm going to pick a 150 by 150 by 10 right there. So I'm going to, once I've picked on it, I'm going to click apply and give it an OK right there. So once I've picked it like that, it will be reflected here, or it will be projected here. So you can put the name as a leg, but I can just leave it as a beam. So I'm going to click modify. So if I click modify, you can see the leg, how it appears, or it has been presented here. It's not in its best position because we want to modify it so that it will be able to allow other members to frame in on it better or accurately, or as required. So I'm going to modify it, rearrange it, and make it frame well to the allow other members to frame to it accurately or in the better way, or to enable the base plate also to be placed in a more practical or in a more sensible way. Now I'll come to positions here. This is where you modify its position. Now I want it to be rotated at 45 degrees. So I'll click modify and see how it turns. So once that has been keyed, it's still enough. That rotation is still enough, but I want to use the rotation tools, rotation options available here with regard to 45 degrees. So I'm going to try below and click modify. You can see it has been rotated, but it is snapping at one side of the L at the midpoint. So that will be right away. It will be on that plane. So I'm going to click left. So if I click left, it moves away from that location. So I'm going to pick on left. So I'll pick right, and that will move it right on the spot. So you can see that L, it's straight and aligned with that side, and this L aligns with this side. Now, and since it is inclined, it's the bottom end will not dead flat on top of this line, so it will be somehow cut into some triangle. So that should not be an issue. Now what we have here is now to divide this member, remember we have some member here that will frame all the way at a straight. It's straight from this edge to that edge, but let's leave that for now. The key part is now to break this into sections up to 30 meters, as I had showed you, because up to from 0 to 30 meters they're the same lengths. So what I'm going to do here is now to start defining that. So I'm going to start that by coming to points here and pick any point. So in here, I'm going to place my point right at the bottom here. Remember, we are doing this manually without using macros that are available for creating telecommunication towers. So I'm going to select on these points that I have created at the bottom end here, right click and come to spatial copy here and pick on linear. So I want first of all to create I'll call it a stub, or a member that will be first of all be installed prior to installing the first leg of our tower. Now I'm going to copy it up by 590, but prior to that I have to reorient my XYZ plane to take the slope or the orientation of our tower. So I'm going to pick on view, then come to work plane tool, and I'm going to just place my work plane right there, then right click and click interrupt, and I'll come back to edit, then come back to points and I'll pick at any position. I had done that already. So I'm going to pick this point, right click and come to spatial copy and pick on linear. So once I picked on linear, I'm going to key in here 590. I'm going to key in 590 and click OK. So that 590 will be copied somewhere here. I'll be able to see it. If you're not able to see it, probably this has been copied in a wrong position. So I'm going back to select it, press Ctrl, deselect that part, right click and come to spatial copy and pick on linear. So I placed that on the z-axis, which was not our intended point. I'm going to copy it and place it on the x-axis, and I'll place it right there. Paste, click copy. So I'm going to click copy. So once that has been copied, and we need to create a gap between the top member and the bottom end member, because there will be a splice connection here. So I'm going to first of all select this point, right click and come to spatial copy, and copy it downward by a 10 millimeter gap. So I'm going to click on that. So once I've done that, I'm going to come at the bottom end here, and also I can just select this point and take it down by 10. So I want to place that point here. So once I place that point, I'm going to select the 2 points here. Once I've selected that, I'm going to deselect that member. I'll right click and come to spatial copy and pick on linear. So I want to copy it up at a distance of 6 meters on the same x-axis. So I'm going to click 6 meters and click copy. So once I've clicked copy, right click and interact, I have my 6 meters here. And again, now I want to copy this point upward. Once I've copied it, let me just copy that, press Ctrl and deselect that member, and I'll right click once again and come to spatial copy and pick on linear. So I want, since the height, the sections up to 30 meters was divided, had a height of 666 meters. So we want to divide this this leg into sections of 6666 meters, because as we progress upward, the leg profile, or the leg's profile also changes. So once we divide it, we'll be able to change those profiles to different profiles as we move on. So I've selected that as 6 meters, and since you have one in place, and how many do you want now? Since you have one in place, we have from here to here is 6, so we need probably 5 of them. So I'll keep in here 5. So once I've selected on that, I'm going to click copy upward by that. So I'll click OK, and if we move up, we can be able to see we have those points already populated up. So what we are going to do, we are going to now divide this into sections. So always don't forget to save your work, and we are going to handle that on the next part of the same topic of But this will be a different topic, and we'll handle it separate. So it will be a different topic from this. So let's meet then on a different topic, and let's meet then. Bye bye.